Welcome to Module 2 discussion of Chapter number 6. Chapter 6. The name of the chapter is How Things Change. In this interactive video session, we are going to learn about physical change. What is the meaning of physical change? What are the different examples that we can give of the physical change? How the sea water becomes salty, and how much salt sea water can hold. What is the process of obtaining the salt from the sea water? What is the process of crystallization? Up to this we will discuss in this module 2 discussion, and in the next module we will discuss about the chemical changes. In our previous lesson we had learnt about different changes. These different changes are being continuously taken place around us. For example, burning of matchstick, curdling of milk, ripening and the rotting of fruits, rusting of iron, etc. These are the various chemical, either the chemical changes or the physical changes that are continuously being taken place around us. And we also have learnt about that some of the changes are natural while some other changes are man-made. Some changes are very useful to us and some others are harmful to us. Some changes are reversible, some changes are irreversible. Depending on the moods of the changes, we can broadly group all kind of changes into two types, such as the physical change and the chemical change. Today, through this interactive video session, we are going to learn about the physical change only. What is the meaning of physical change? It is the kind of change which can be reversed or gets reversed by itself. This is the meaning of the physical change in the simple language. I repeat, what is the meaning of physical change? It is the change that can be reversed or gets reversed by itself. Now, what are the different characteristics of the physical change? Number one, the physical properties of physical change are always changeable, such as the shape, the size, the color, or the form or state. These are changeable. The second characteristic of physical change is the matter of substance remains always same. The matter of substance remains the same. That means it is unchangeable. Third one is no new substance or matter is formed during the process of physical change. These are the three distinct characteristics of the physical change, and by observing these characteristics we can easily identify by giving the name either the physical change or the change is chemical change. Now, what are the different examples that we can provide against the different physical changes? Number one, the broken glass. Broken glass, it is the incidence of the physical change but not the chemical change. Why? Because the broken pieces of the broken glass can be recycled to form the glass once again. That's why the incidence of broken glass is not the chemical change, but it is the physical change. The another example is the tearing of the paper. It is also the example of the physical change, because when the paper torn into pieces, it is only the change in terms of size and the shape of the paper, but not in its material or in its matter, that is the paper. Hence we can say that tearing of paper is not the chemical change, but it is the physical change. In this incidence of tearing the paper, no new substance is formed. Only the physical property, such as the shape and the size of the paper, gets changed. The another example is the change of the blue crystal of copper sulfate to the white powder on heating. This is also the example of the physical change, but not the chemical change. Why? Because on cooling, in the presence of moisture, the white powder changes its color from white to blue. And this is not the chemical change, because there is no formation of the new substance in the incidence of this transformation of the coloration of blue crystals of copper sulfate to the white powder. The change of the coloration is only the temporary. It is not the fixed one. That's why it is reversible. The color is reversible. That's why this is the pure example of the physical change, but not the chemical change. Because moisture is the factor that helps to change the color from blue to white. And this is the reversible change of color. Another example is the three forms or states of water. The change in the three states or the forms of water is also the example of physical change. Because on heating, ice, this is the solid state of water, it gets melted to form water. And further, the water, the liquid state, gets changed to the vapor or the gaseous state of water. On contrary, on the cooling process, the steam or the water vapor, the gaseous state of water, gets changed to the water, the liquid state. And further, it also gets freezed to form the ice, the solid state of water. The whole incidence of the transformation of state of water, either from solid to liquid or from liquid to gas, is reversible. That's why the transformation in state or forms of water is the example of physical change, but not the chemical change. As the physical property of water on heating or on cooling gets changed only, but not the matter or the substance of water. there is no new substance formation is occurred. Therefore, we can say that ice, water and water vapor or steam, these are the different forms or states of the same material, that is water. And no new substance is formed when these changes or the transformation are occurred or taken place. This is only a change of state or the form from either solid, that means ice, to liquid, water, and from liquid, the water, to gas or water vapor. That's why it is the example of physical change. And the main reason behind, or the main cause behind of change in state or forms of water is the incidence of gaining the heat or the incidence of losing the heat. Another example of the physical change is grinding of the crystals of the salt into the powdered salt. This is also the example of the physical change, but not the chemical change, because the powdered salt can be made into crystals once again by the process of the crystallization. Hence, we can say, under the process of crystallization, the grinding of the crystals of the salt into powdered salt is reversible. Now the question is, why the sea water is salty, or why the sea water is saline in nature? The main answer is the sea water has the capacity to dissolve the different substances, mainly the salts, the different salts. Because the sea water is full of dissolved salts and the salts present on the rocks under the sea. That's why sea water becomes salty in taste. It includes the common salt such as the sodium chloride, including or in addition to that, there are different salts also, which are also dissolved in the sea water. Sea water also includes the different impurities. And for this reason, the presence of impurities in the sea water is not fit for the human consumption. It is totally unfit for the human consumption. That's why there is the famous saying about the sea water that while a person is on the sea, he or she must follow this statement that water everywhere in the sea, but not a single drop to drink of the sea water. Sea water is fully unfit for human consumption. Now the question is, how much salt the sea water can hold? The answer is, the sea water can hold 35 grams per liter of salt. The holding capacity of sea water at room temperature is, the holding capacity of salt of the sea water at room temperature is 35 grams per liter of sea water. That means in 1 liter of sea water, the 1 liter amount of sea water consists of 35 grams salt. Like the sea water, the general pure water is also the liquid that holds 35 grams of salt per liter of water. It is very important. You must know this 35 gram of salt per liter of water. And the excess amount of salt, if present, it settles down on the floor of the sea. Now the question is, how can we obtain the salt from the sea water? The process, that is the crystallization, through this process we can easily obtain the salt from the sea water. Crystallization, it is the process that is involved in obtaining the salt from the sea water. Now the question is how? And the answer is, in this process of crystallization, first sea water is to be collected in the salt pans or the shallow pits, and these are available along the sea coast. And this collected sea water now is to be left exposed under the heat from the sun and breeze. And lying this sea water in this condition or exposing under the heat, this helps in rapid evaporation of water from the salt pans. Hence, it results in the saturation of salt solution. The salt crystallizes, forming the salt crust. These salt crystals from the crust are collected from time to time along the sea coast from the salt pans. This salt of sea includes different impurities. That's why we need to clean and pure the salt after obtaining through the clean fresh water and through the filtering process, in order to separate the impurities from the sea salt. And finally, we have to apply the process of evaporation of the sea water to obtain the crystals of the clean salt of the sea water. Now the question is, what is the process of crystallization? This is the process of obtaining the crystals of a soluble substance by the process of cooling and evaporating the solvent. And it is the physical change but not the chemical change. Why? Because this process is used to obtain the pure substance by removing the insoluble impurities from it. And no new substance is formed in this process. Only a change of state or form is occurred. And this change may be from a mixture, that means the powder, to solution, or from solution to the crystal state. And this crystallization process is only the process for obtaining the crystals of the soluble substance from the solvent. And by applying this crystallization process, we can get the crystals of alum. We can also get the crystals of sugar, copper sulfate, called the blue vitriol, the urea, and the common salt. It should also be noted that the gradual and the slower evaporation of the solvent gives larger and more perfect crystals. I repeat, if the rate of the evaporation is gradual or slow of the solvent, then we can get the larger and the more perfect crystals. What is vaporization? It is the process of conversion of the liquid into its vapor state. And it is quite similar with the evaporation process, because under the evaporation process, the conversion of liquid is occurred into its vapor state. But it is also useful to know that evaporation is the slower process of the vaporization. And the vaporization of the liquid is taken place only from the surface of the liquid, mind it. But the vaporization during the boiling of a liquid, it is taken place not only from the surface of the liquid, but from almost all point of or within the liquid. That's why the vaporization during the boiling of a liquid, it is the fast process, whereas evaporation, it is the slower process. And in our previous lesson, we had also learnt about the different solutions, such as the saturated solution, unsaturated, and the supersaturated. Saturated solutions means it contains the maximum amount of solute, whereas unsaturated solution, it contains the less amount of solute, and the supersaturated solution, it holds the little amount of more solute than its capacity. In our next module of discussion, we will discuss about the chemical changes of this chapter, chapter 6, how things change, from the page number 71. Thanks for watching.